Good day, this is Nkosilo Msanube. I will be presenting my project about distributed systems. We created a project called We Share project. So what We Share does, it's a social expense tracker. It keeps track of expenses among friends or family. We'll go into the demo of what the app actually does, but an overview of how we approached this project is we did our research and data analysis so as to understand the effectiveness of the social expense tracker, then went into a detailed examination of the costs associated with We Share in comparison with the benefits. Then after the system was built, we compiled a presentation and demo of how We Share functions. Now moving to the next slide on our research and data analysis. We had utilization of computer technologies, so we employed various research methods, did surveys using form breaks to figure out what are the needs of the young generation in terms of keeping track of their expenses. Also used tools like ChatGPT for research and insights, and also use the internet as well to figure out what are the needs, what are the existing social expense tracker systems that are out there. Then for data visualization, I use tools such as Google Sheets and Excel. And then our research methodologies, we documented them using documentation systems. We also used GitHub for issue tracking of what the user would what are the user stories and the developer stories as well. The time frame, it took us plus or minus 3 weeks, not only for the research though, for the whole project, as the project through development, research and analysis. So we, as I've mentioned, we also included online surveys, interview with people, literature, reviews, and also we sourced data from academic journals, online articles from other people, and user feedback as well. Now, so we had internet research, exploring trends in expense tracking applications that already exist. We did a cross-referencing with multiple sources. Then we, due to user feedback and evaluation, we assessed validity of conclusions by evaluating user reviews and expert opinions also in the finance field. Now, the computer technologies and presentations, I used PowerPoint to compile the presentation and the PowerPoint AI generating version of it. Then in the presentation as well, we'll have visual aids like tables to show the cost analysis, and also an understanding of the web browser plugin was necessary really in this project, especially for the debugging tools. So on the debugging tools, we had used something like React debug tools for the project, since it's a JavaScript based project on the front end as well. So the tools for the development of the social expense tracer itself, I used Cursor IDE, which is a more advanced version of VS Code. It has integrated tools to help you code faster and also for easy debugging. It also has a variety of plugs in like VS Code, because it's almost VS Code. I also use plugin or extensions, I mean to say, like the REST client extension, which I was using to send my HTTP request to test if the API that I was using on the back end was actually functional. So that's the IDE there. It enhances productivity, and it helps with file analysis. That's why it was the best choice for me to choose. Then I have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript were used for front end and to create an appealing web page as well. And just to move back to the previous slide. Yes, so HTML and CSS and JavaScript were used. Then Javelin is the framework we use for the API, because the backend was built in Java using the persistence session approach. Then the backend was exposed to the front end using the API for Java, which is a Java API as well. So we went to cost and benefit analysis over the development costs. What costs will we incur regarding to the front end, the back end, and server development? We focused on yearly costs, so to have an overview of the whole cost when the project is done. Also, we have project's benefit there, which is focusing on the user acquisition and the ease of expense tracking, which was the most critical benefit for users. So the cost estimates are on the table. The UI may be getting a template as a subscription or yearly projections. These are in rents. Then for the back end, these were our projections: server cost yearly, development tools, plugins and IDEs that needed maybe more advanced subscriptions for use, testing and deployment, and there we have the total estimated cost. Now also moving on to time estimate. The research, we had estimated 20 hours of research and 35 hours in the front-end development, 30 hours estimated for the back-end development, 15 hours to testing and debugging, 5 hours for deployment. So in total, our estimated time was 105 hours. The project took plus or minus along this time frame. Now the impact of late delivery, we notice has an effect on the project in delays, because if we assigned task among the group members and one member does not deliver the task on time, these delays and can impact on each other, and they also can potentially increase costs. Now the target audience of the system are young professionals and students, and maybe groups that are seeking a more efficient way of managing their expenses. So the presentation style used is to make sure we have a clear and concise content and an organized flow by using the tables as we have seen. So when we were researching, our research really was based on user needs, competitor analysis, and expect engagement. That was more of what our research was based on. So now it was also critical during project to have a good understanding of HTML and what is its role in building user friendly, of which we will showcase some of these features. So we share is typically transactions on the websites. You can express track, you can make payment requests. You are also tracking your payments that you received and the payments you made to friends. So the user has to log in to see what was spent, when, how much, who is owing who, and then they send requests and receive requests for outstanding payments. So it's quite a user-centric design that was followed. The navigation is also user-centric. It is an intuitive user interface that will be demonstrated at the end of the presentation. So CSS and HTML were used to create a responsive design and a good layout and simpler for users to use. So as we have already mentioned, some of the web development tools, GitHub was used for version control and collaboration. Kesa IDE is a development speed and AI support. Then we have Javelin which is a seamless integration of the backend that was written in Java. So in conclusion, on our research findings is that users prefer a simple system, a straightforward system, straightforward methods for tracking expenses, and there is the app also makes sure there is trust and transparency in the transactions by notifying user of the activities that are happening on the WeShare system. So my final remarks will be WeShare taught us more of really what a distributed system is, where we have logic separated to the front end, and we have a layered architecture kind of approach to the project. Now it's demo time, where I will show you the features. We're going to explore the WeShare project, and these are the key features here. We'll go through the user interface, an overview of the user interface. Then we demonstrate the key features. We show how the user would log in to the system, demonstrate how to record and make payments requests. Then also I'll explain how to track and view outstanding balances in the project. So let's get started. We'll just go through the demo now. I have already fired the app as it is running here on the terminal, and it's running on the local host. So I'll present the local host, which is running on port 5050. So the user comes into the system. This is what they see first. So the user can enter their email. For simplicity, we did not involve password on this first iteration of the project. So the user can log in. If the user logs in, they will be landed on the home page where they see all their expenses. So they have expenses for lunch, an amount of 300, and they have an expense for airtime, which is an amount of 100 Rand as well. So it's very user friendly. Their total is there. When the user gets here, they get to see their expenses, and they see a button called add new expenses. But there is also another section where the user can click on payment request, and you see the CSS is used to highlight the page to show that they are actually about to click on this link. So it highlights where the mouse is. So when we click there, we have payment request from student 2 who made a payment request of 100 Rand, and we have a payment request of lunch from student 3 who are also requesting the amount of 100 Rand. Then we have payment request received. You don't owe anyone anything. Then we could have now, when you click on one of the expenses, let's say lunch, then it will show you the request that came through in regards to this. Then you can also send submit payment requests to students that owe you, and you select the date on when you want to make a payment request, submit a payment request. Then it says it says it's a bad request. I'm trying to send a request to myself, which is how it should happen. So you can add a new expense there, or you can have a description, an amount. And now we could also see the HTML, the source to this web page. We have the elements there. We have the main tag. We have the nav, which is the nav bar here, which with the link to the pages. Then in the main tag, we have the body of this page. Then we have a form, which is an action of expense.action. This is sent to the API route through the form. If we would go through quickly and open Cursor just to see some of the this route given here, one of the routes being sent to the back end. So while Cursor is opening through, the student can log out, and then they can be able to log in again. We see the logout page. Here's a main tag, inside where we see the div, and then there is a form to submit. It sends this to the route login.action. So the route login.action will be seen in the code. It's maybe if I'm just to quickly open cursor. Okay, cursor is opening up. We wait there. So I already cancelled cursor. I was just going to my second year folder, and I go for the web, and that, and I'll open cursor from here to demo how the front end is interacting with the back end in this distributed system. We have a bit of a problem with cursor opening up. It's taking a bit of time. So basically, this is the system for tracking expenses that we had built. So we will reopen cursor as it's not responding. Apologies for the waiting time. It's coming through now.